Last night's main event between Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber never happened. I mean, you get done with the co-main event, and they're supposed to walk out and fight, and the fight is scrapped. We've never seen this. We've seen main events uh, get taken out, even when the card has already started. But this time, the main event was washed as it's about to happen. Unbelievable. Macy Barber could not make it out for the fight. She had weight cutting issues leading up to the fight. We're going to dive into that. Also, Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovit Klein was not the great fight that we anticipated, but it was a clear domination. So we'll get into the entire card last night at UFC Vegas 107 next.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege.
What up? What up? This your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is the TC MMA podcast, and what a weird night it was last night. First of all, in the first 6 fights, you had 5 decisions. So this thing was dragging along, and it was only a 10-fight card, which ended up falling to 9 fights by the end of the night, but it seemed like a 20-fight card last night. It just dragged on forever and ever. And what happened is you finally get to the main event, Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber, which isn't a big main event, right? It's not getting people to tune in. People are really tuning in for Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovit Klein, right? A huge lightweight showdown between a number 7 contender and a non-contender. But, you know, we get to the main event, we want to see it, and Macy Barber can't make the walk. And we know she had weight cutting issues the day before, or maybe 2 days before. And, you know, it just leads to problems. I mean, to me, her body shut down. We really don't know for sure yet, right? We're only getting bits and pieces of information. People are speculating and things like that. But at the end of the day, there was no main event. And Kenneth Bruner weighed in on this topic with a great comment. It says, I don't know when the UFC is going to realize that having this ridiculous recovery window, incentives, extreme weight cutting, and we've seen it play out time and time again, that is the biggest issue with this whole sport, is that they must close the window between weigh-in and fight. This was a weight cutting issue that had effects over 24 hours later. Close the dang window. That's what Kenneth Bruner is saying. And I wasn't really thinking too much into this, but it does bring up some good points, right? So if you have this long window between when you have to make weight and when the fight takes place, what that causes is guys and women, as we've seen last night, try to make major weight cuts and then say, hey, well, I have, you know, so many days, so many hours to recover. But sometimes when you cut too much weight, the body just shuts down. So is that what happened to Macy Barber? It seems like it. No official word just yet. But we've seen it with other fighters, right? The UFC sometimes will step in and say, stop cutting weight, which is what they did with Hamza Chimaev in the Nate Diaz fight. Stop cutting weight, right? If, you know, more or less, if you keep going, your body's going to shut down. There's going to be no fight at all. And this time it happened, or at least appears to have happened to Macy Barber. So at the end of the day, no main event last night. Well, actually, there was a main event. We just didn't know it at the time. Officially, Mateusz Gamrot and Ludovit Klein ended up being the main event. And the bottom line is we needed the main event last night. That's what I was really upset about. Is we're 8-9. We really thought Aaron Blanchfield was going to go in there and win, get us back to 9-9, but instead we had to settle for Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovit Klein. And this is how the fight ended up going down. Final 30 seconds here. Gamrot continues to dominate. deep into the third round. Now he moves to side control, lands 2 rights. Ludovit Klein tries to get out, he can't. And that's been the story of the fight. Gamrot well over 6 minutes, headed towards 7 minutes of control time. As he pounds away with the right elbow, there's a tap. And Mateusz Gamrot is rolling to victory. Ladies and gentlemen, in dominant fashion with a big left at the bell. And that'll do it. And Mateusz Gamrot dominated here. He's going to get an easy, unanimous decision victory, 47-30 in significant strikes, 37-16 in head strikes. But way more than I thought. 8 minutes and 45 seconds of control, more than half the fight. 6 takedowns on 11 attempts against a guy who had 95% takedown defense. But as Mateusz Gamrot said, against 2. 95% takedown defense against 2, not against me. And in this one, he couldn't even defend the takedowns 50% of the time. So Mateusz Gamrot holds serve, the number 7 contender in this division, moves to 25-3. Lightweight division, UFC Vegas, 107. So basically clear domination for Mateusz Gamrot again. This ended up being the main event, 30-27 across all 3 scorecards. He led 65-24 in significant strikes. 8:45 of control time to almost nothing for Klein. 6 takedowns on 11 attempts. That means he only stopped 5 of 11. And so against a really good takedown specialist like Mateusz, under 50% takedown defense. So that 95% last night did not hold up. It didn't hold up well at all. And credit Mateusz Gamrot for going in there and doing exactly what he said he would do, is control the fight, dominate the fight. It didn't lead to a finish, but it was unnecessary, right? If you're beating your opponent that easily, again, we always use football and say, hey, if you can run the football, especially in the old day, and the team can't stop it, just chew up the clock and keep moving the football forward, score points, and keep the opposing team off the field. And that's what that is in the world of MMA. If you can control your opponent, the crowd may not like it, but at the end of the day, you're going to get a victory. As we move forward, we had another finish. Most of the finishes coming in the main card last night. This was a big welterweight fight between Billy Ray Goff and Ramiz Brahimaj. This fight was set up late as other opponents had to pull out. But luckily, we got a good fight here, and this is how this one turned out. Now, it's Goff pinning Brahimaj up against the fence. So he's reversed the position. And this is good. He needed to get back to his feet. He did. And now he's got to separate. I mean, I don't know why he's holding on. This is not a good place to be. Oh, boy, he's got the rear locked into the guillotine. Oh, he pulls out. Goff pulls out. And Goff is still trying to stay in the clinch. I don't get it. Now with Brahimaj. And Goff's in trouble here. He's in trouble. Look at this. He's got the guillotine locked in, and he taps. And I don't even know if he tapped, but the fight is over. Wow. Wow. Brahimaj finished him in a matter of like 2 seconds. Unbelievable. And he jumps to the top of the octagon fence, and Billy Goff is down, and he's going to be just fine. But man, Ramiz Brahimaj finished the fight literally in 2 seconds. Unbelievable. And who knows why Billy Ray Goff stayed in the clinch. He didn't have to. But Brahimaj moves to 12-5 here with a huge victory. Welterweight division. UFC Vegas, 107. Yeah, so at the end of the day, Ramiz Brahimaj made this fight look easy. Officially finished the fight in 3 minutes and 16 seconds into round 1. Victory by guillotine. So, and you look at the numbers, 1-1 in significant strikes. I mean, it's just Brahimaj got the fight to the ground, and that was it. I mean, Goff had some control time, but was he ever really in control? Ramiz had 2 takedowns in those 3 minutes. So just domination there. And speaking of domination, light heavyweight division, you had Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez, and this was probably the finish of the night. Here's the reaction. Jacoby opening up now, looking to get the finish here. And he's got Lopez pinned up against the fence. And really, he needs to get out of these break. He needs to break free. This is helping Lopez right now. He lands another big left. Now he breaks off. There goes another big left. Lopez is in trouble. Jacoby's opening up. And he lands a left, another left, and it's over. Woo! Dustin Jacoby with a huge finish over Bruno Lopez, a Brazilian, a guy that's 14-1 coming in. And we took Jacoby in the prediction. We saw he's 20-9, a little bit nervous about that, but at the end of the day, Dustin Jacoby did what he had to do, and he gets the KO finish. He's going to move to 21-9, and that took about 2 minutes. Wow. Big win for Dustin Jacoby as he finally breaks free from the clinch, shoves off, and then bing, 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 and this thing is over. Light heavyweight division, UFC Vegas, 107. And we definitely needed that KO. I mean, up to that point, it seemed like this thing was just dragging on and on and on. In the previous 6 fights, you had one finish. It just wasn't a good look last night for the UFC. I mean, this stuff happens. Every time there's a 9 or 10 fight card, it seems like it takes forever. It's unbelievable. In the main card, you also had Ketlin Vera beating Macy Chiasson. 29-28 on 2, 30-27 on the other. Zachary Reese came back against Todorovic and won the final 2 rounds, although, people are saying that was a bad result by the judges, but all 3, agree with each other. So it's hard to make that case. Although Alan Nascimento won the Brazil versus Brazil showdown. He's now 21-6. That was a big victory by him. And then early on, we had at least something here. Lightweight division, which never lets down. You had Kurt Holloway taking on Jordan Levitt. And here's how this thing finished up. Jordan Levitt takes Holloway down again. And this is not a good start for Kurt Holloway. The Monkey King is all over him. He's got the name for a reason, and he's looking to try to get his submission here early. Nice move by Kurt Holloway, but he walks into a guillotine. Oh, is it tight? Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. This is not good. And look at that. Nice job with the legs by Jordan. I think that's going to be it. That's going to be it for Kurt Holloway, and that's it. Wow. The Monkey King with a wild guillotine finish. And Kurt Holloway is going to be just fine, but the Monkey King runs outside of the octagon. And here go the officials. Almost hurt him on the way out. These officials got to let these fighters go sometimes when they're excited. But he's back in the octagon now. He's going to jump on top of the fence, hug his corner. And what a victory. Fast. I mean, quick here for Jordan Levitt, a.k.a. the Monkey King. He's going to move to 12-3. And forget the stats here. It's 1 significant strike to nothing. I mean, he did it in about 1 minute and 45 seconds. And Holloway was nearly out of it, but he walked right into a guillotine. And that does it. That's why it's the best division in the UFC, lightweight division, UFC Vegas, 107. The Monkey King got the job done at UFC Vegas 107, and it kind of at least saved the day in the first 6 fights because that was the only finish. He also had Oki beat Michael Aswell Jr. in a very close fight, 29-28 on all 3, unanimous decision. And also in the first fight of the night, finally, Elise Ardeline. If you don't know, the TikTok star, right, entering the UFC. I believe she dropped the first 2, if I'm not mistaken, and looked great last night. In my opinion, dominated, right, 154-78 in significant strikes, 115-67 in head strikes. 2 judges gave her 29-28, although I'd argue that it was 30-27, or it should have been across the board. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. She gets the win. And she's looked good in other fights, but can't get the decision, right? But in this one, she does, and she moves to 10-7. So that's going to get her some more fights in the UFC. So she fights out of the women's strawweight division. So for us, as it turns out, we had a 4-5 night. Not great, but we got the main event, right? As it's officially listed now, Mateusz Gamrot beat Ludovit Klein. So we're back to 9-9. And we need it because you'll see why this week on Tuesday when the prediction show comes out. Don't miss that one, episode 881 of the TCMMA podcast. That'll come out on Tuesday. You'll see why we needed this victory tonight. 9-9 is important because who knows how Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley is going to finish up. But you're not going to want to stay away from the channel this week because we got a lot of information to give you, multiple podcasts coming out this week, which is going to be hopefully the future. We're going to try to start pumping out more podcasts. A lot of times we get tied up with predictions because that's the main force of the channel right now. But we're going to start to slowly pump out more podcasts. So stay tuned for those. But that's the way everything turned out last night. For now, it's your boy Chris Cross. Hope you have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.